Hello everyone, it's time for the March garden tour. So excited to show you around my yard and see what's happening. There's a lot of things blooming, some things that came back from winter, some other things that didn't come back. But let's take a walk around my yard and see what's happening. When we come left out of my front porch, the first thing we come to is my sidewalk. To nowhere is what we call it. It just kind of goes right around the house and then ends in the grass. I'll show you that in a second. But first up, here are my hellebores. There were three. So there's the middle one, the one on the right, but the one over here on the left, it didn't make it through the winter. Behind it, I have heuchera. Two of those Primo Rose heuchera, and I hope they're coming back. And behind that, look at this. I've got some tulips coming up. Look at that. They'll be blooming here in a couple weeks. Can't wait to see that. All right, so then we come on around my sidewalk. I have three more of the wild rose heuchera. I think I'd like to get more and make it more of a swoop. I also want to remove these arborvitaes. I don't even know what they are really. But I want to remove these two. They're not balanced. We had to take out the third one because of the light sensor for the street lamp. They're getting overgrown and I just don't like them anymore. So I'm hoping to be able to save the root ball and move these two somewhere else in my garden, but they are coming out of here. So here's the sensor for the street lamp where the third of those arborvitaes were. We took it out because it was blocking the sensor and the street lamp was staying on all the time. So here is my arbor that got blown over during that big windstorm. Love walking through it. And here's what I mean by the sidewalk to nowhere. I'm hoping that we can add a porch across the front and this would become stairs going up onto another porch, but we'll see. So I think there were signs of life on this clematis right there. So excited right there, see it? It's got a little green coming in on the vine. So I'm glad to see this one made it through the winter. The one on the other side, yes, right here. We do have some growth. So, oh, so excited. The clematis made it through the winter. Okay, this is my street lamp. It's the second one in this position. And it was a Mother's Day present from my husband. And I just love it. It gives light in the evening around the corner as we're going to the swing and the trampoline. I've got this light. Also, when we're driving up the driveway at night, it's just nice to greet you. I like the features of this one because they're covered on the top. The other one we had the light bulbs screwed in up, and it just wasn't as nice. These ones, the light bulbs hang down. I have Thomas Edison light bulbs in there that give off a nice golden glow. And overall, I really like this street lamp much better. My only complaint is it seems a little short. Let me turn the camera around so you can see what I mean. Okay, I am only 5'7", so this street lamp is not much taller than I am. And that's the only complaint I have about it. I wish it was a little bit taller like our other one, but like I said, those lights pointed up into the air. But overall, as we come through the arbor, this little flower bed is coming right along. You can see right there are some peonies. Look at all those coming up, nice and healthy, as well as all these tulips. And the other set of peonies is right there. So this flower bed's coming along. And can't wait to see those in bloom. And then over here, we have a big pine tree. I don't know, it's doing too good. Let me show you up here. It's not got a lot of, it's been losing needles all winter. They're not thick and green. There's a lot of dead branches. I'm gonna have to have someone come out and take a look at this tree. It's just not doing too good. And we lost a pine tree about 5 or 6 years ago, and it fell out into the hayfield. No damage was done. But this tree, if it goes, it's gonna hit my house. So I need to have someone come take a look at it and see if we need to have it removed or not. But underneath the pine tree, I planted up some clearance ranunculus, and I added the sphere to help hold them, the topiary sphere, to help hold them up. So I'm hoping they'll bounce back. Like I said, they were $3 in clearance, and so we'll see how they do. But I put the pot right beside my bench just to add some nice spring color to this area. I love it. Okay, this is the magnolia tree where all of my kids learned how to climb trees, and my grandchildren climb this tree. It's nice because it splits the trunk low to the ground, making it real easy for them to climb up in it. And over here by my spirea, I have a lot of tulips coming up. These were a new patch that my grandson and I planted up. Just to the left of the spirea, I have planted a black lace elderberry, and I worried about this all winter because it looked like a dead stick in my yard. But look at all this growth coming up on the top. Look at that. It made it through the winter. Look at these buds coming up. So I can't wait to see how this does in my yard. A full-grown, mature black elderberry is just a beautiful, beautiful red color in the landscape, and the foliage is just so delicate and pretty. So can't wait for this to grow up. Okay, this is my front stoop, and I have tulips on either side of that step, and this is the first year for them. So excited. Spring is coming. I just can't wait. And then I couldn't wait to plant up these planters. So I got some pansies in there with some tulips. I know it's not real full, but I was using the pansies in other projects as well. So I just thought I'd tuck them in here around the tulips. So this area next to the trampoline is a spot that's going to be getting a makeover real soon. I want to create a winding path around the trampoline. The trampoline itself is about 10 years old, and I would like to replace it. The springs are all stretched out, and even though the net got blown over, the net is still fine because I have sewed any holes that have been into it. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just, it's getting old and stretched out. But these stairs were a 4-H project that my son built when he was in 4-H. It was his woodworking project, and they've been great. I'm able to sit there and watch the kids jump on the trampoline right there on the top step, so I can help the baby get on and off. And it's just it's underneath the shade of the big catalpa with the swing, so it's a real nice spot that we enjoy in the summertime. But this area with all the yucca, that's what I want to redo. I did thin out the yucca last year, and you wouldn't be able to tell from that because they've come back just as thick. But I want to thin out the yucca, maybe put a Japanese maple in here, make a winding path down to the house. And I'll show you the view from the other side when I show you the wooden flower bed that's just gotten really old. So right next to the trampoline, I wintered over a blueberry in a flower pot. It was kind of an experiment to see if the hardiness zone said it should, it was zone 5 and I'm in a zone 6. So this blueberry should have made it through the winter. I am not seeing any signs of life on it yet, but it's not brittle when I bend it. So I still have hope that this blueberry made it through the winter, and if it did. Okay, this is our swing. It's in pretty sad shape. We didn't put it away this winter, but it was starting to have some trouble last fall. But it's really nice to sit here, watch the kids as they climb over there in the magnolia, or I could sit on the bench over there. And this is just a big old catalpa tree. That is just a limb. This tree is monstrous. It's huge. And I have my bistro set that I've had for many years, but I don't always keep it there. I like it out in the yard. It's just a nice place to have a snack with the kids. Underneath, I picked up this stepping stone up at Lake Erie. I think it was the Butterfly House on Lake Erie. Okay, coming around the catalpa tree, at the base are another set of tulips. This is the second year for these tulips. They're a pink mix, but last year there was an orange and a red. So I'm going to try to mark those when they bloom in a couple weeks and just dig just those ones up. But this tree is massive. It's been here a long time, just a massive tree. Right next to it is a flower bed that I was able to clean out just last week. And I was able to reshape the rocks on the hillside going down to the road. I did cut out the weed tree. You can see the stump right there. I really tried to dig it out, but it just wasn't coming out. In front of the trellis, there are some hosta right here, and behind the trellis, there are a lot of daylilies. Here on the left and the right, I planted a lobelia. So I'm hoping those will come back, but again, I'm not seeing any growth right now, but I have hopes that they will come back. So, sweet little flower bed right here. And to the left of it is the old lilac. And this, I did some heavy pruning on just the other day. I'll show you the stack that I pulled out of there, but it had a lot of dead wood. I mean, this thing has been here for years. So let me pan over here and I'll show you all the dead wood I pulled out of it. Look at this. Just dead from inside of there. So I'll take that down to the burn pile and burn it. So I have the lilac, and what is there, see that has growth on it, so that's coming back. This cane right here that is red is a raspberry. So I'm going to leave it there. It's a volunteer, and we got berries off of it last year, and it was kind of fun because the kids could just come right here and eat. So I'm going to leave the raspberry there. So if it has a red cane, it's a raspberry. So there's another raspberry here. Like I said, they're volunteers, and I'm just going to leave them there, let them produce, because we can enjoy eating the berries right here in the yard. So coming on around, this is all lilac that is spread from the main tree. And I think I might thin this out and maybe move some to different spots in the yard, but it doesn't look very tidy like this. This bed I haven't gotten to, and you can see these 3 trees right there. They're walnuts. I have a pet peeve against walnuts. Everywhere a walnut falls, a tree grows next year, which is okay, but it's not where I want them to grow. So these walnut little baby trees are coming out of here. And I think I'm going to take out the rocks here and just edge this flower bed. I want to use the rocks in another project. And then this is the other catalpa tree. It's not as massive as the one with the swing, but it has the hook for my clothesline. And check this out. It has a raspberry bush growing right out of it. And yes, we do eat the raspberries off of this raspberry cane hanging down right there. It does have raspberries on it growing right out of the tree. Okay, so standing at the kind of like the edge of my yard, I have a couple of volunteer redbud trees right here next to this flower bed. And pan on down, there is the outhouse that is original to the farm. In front of it is a nice green patch of the snowdrops. I think they're mostly done blooming now, but when they were in bloom, it was really pretty to see all their white blooms. Okay, this is another view of the redbud tree that I am getting a little worried about it. And then hanging on the tree is the bird feeder, and I just filled this up 3 days ago. Look at that. It's all the way down again. Okay, so we're We are back over at the house by my sun porch, and I have some daffodils in bloom. Some, I call them naked lady lilies, fronds are coming up nice and thick here. Got a daylily, some hosta, so this flower bed's doing well, except this wood. This is going to be our next project. If we look down at the wood's rotten over here. This has probably been here for 50 years or more, and it just needs replaced. Right here is the view of the path I'd like to put into the trampoline. I would like a winding path that is wider and then winds around the trampoline, and then thin out that yucca. So this is definitely a project I want to tackle very soon. Okay, here is my sun porch door, and this was a project that we just finished up. So excited. We had these hay racks installed. My brother came over because he had the tools that we needed to be able to drill into the cement mortar to install these, and so this is one project off the list this year. They look so nice, and I can't wait to plant different things in them as the season goes on. Okay, coming back around the house towards the front, I haven't cleaned off this part of the sidewalk yet, and we always have toys laying around, but this is my watering station. My design, but my husband was able to build it for me. So we have the Ely hose reel, some hooks for the watering cans, a place over here for a shorter hose, and there's the hose reel. I have a 130-foot hose on there, and I can reach just about every part of my yard with the 130-foot hose. On the other side of the driveway now, on this side is our swimming pool, pizza oven, and garden area, and the sandbox and things for the kids as well over here. There is our goat pen with our goats. There's a Rose of Sharon, and between the Rose of Sharon and the ginkgo tree there will be a hammock as the weather warms up. And then coming around the pool, we have the sandbox, which will be in a makeover video. Last year the kids got some splinters from those old telephone poles, and so we want to sand and paint, and then we're going to refresh the sand. So that's going to be a makeover video in the future. But we have a kids space over here because when they get tired of swimming, they can come out here and play. Coming around here, I have a little planting area that I would like to get a little bit bigger. There's a Weigela beside the alligator. My grandsons, they have a thing for gator boys and alligators, and we saw this at the home store in Pittsburgh a couple years ago, and we just had to have it as our mascot for the swimming pool. And so then I have a grass there and our pool deck. This will be a future makeover area. That glider is very old. And then there's the door to the chicken coop. So I really want, now that I've kind of got the sidewalk in, I want to make this a beautiful space to look at and walk past. So this will be another project on the list. And then coming down the sidewalk, my landscape fabric showing through. Going to widen this with some gravel. But today I want to show you into my garden. This is the entrance to my garden, and on either side was a New Dawn rose. Not this winter, but the winter before got them, and we kind of, my husband's like, well, maybe they'll come back, and I'm like, no, I don't think so, and they didn't, but there was a little growth off the root, which I'm sure is the rootstock, and so it won't be the New Dawn rose. So unfortunately these are coming out, and I'm going to plant some new climbing roses in there, but they were gorgeous, and they were just about to meet over the top before I lost them. I had them for about 5 years. So let's go into the garden now. Just inside my garden gate, I have this empty space. I didn't plant anything in it last year. I used it for storage for the rakes and shovels and whatnot. But I think I'm going to be utilizing this space for planting. And these, we had a lot of extra brick left over, so I built these 3. They were originally compost bins, but as I put in food scraps and grass clippings and leaves, it attracted rats up out of the woods. And so we ended up with rats in our chicken coop. And so I ended up buying a tumbler composter so that we wouldn't have that problem after we got rid of the rats. So these turned into raised beds, and inside in this one I planted onions, which I don't really see any sign of life yet, but that's okay. So there's onions in there. I have garlic in here, and we can see the garlic coming up, so the garlic's doing good. And I don't have anything. This one I had herbs in last year, and I probably will repeat the herbs in here again. Beside it in this little planting bed is a thornless blackberry that just took off and did amazing. So it was nice to pick those. They were nice, thick blackberries. You can see all the stalks where they were last year. So thornless blackberries. And then this is my compost tumbler. I love it. It's really easy to use, and just give it a spin every couple days. And then we wanted to try growing potatoes in tires. I had seen it on Pinterest or somewhere, so my husband brought me over some tires so that I can try it. And there's our tomato cages in the corner. And here is a little garden gate that goes out into the yard, so you don't have to go all the way around. Okay, so when you leave the garden and go back up the sidewalk towards the pool, there's the sandbox, the 360 teeter-totter, the pizza oven, the benches that my husband made from the oak tree that fell down. There's my chiminea, which is a lot of fun for roasting marshmallows and having s'mores. A very tiny contained fire. I don't have to worry about the grandkids, you know, tripping, falling into it. It's small and contained. And then my butterfly chair was a Christmas present a couple years ago. I had seen it at Stan Hewitt when I had gone there to tour the house and gardens, and they had butterfly chairs there, and I just had to have one. It's actually very, very comfortable to sit in. Okay, I'm at the edge of the garden. There's the little garden gate and my tumbler. That is a pear tree, and we share this big field with our neighbor. It's really nice for kickball, football, baseball. It's got a little bit of a slope down to the road, but it's just a nice open area. And like I said, we share it with my neighbors. We take turns mowing it, and it's just a nice place to be able to play. Well, that concludes the March tour of my garden. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll stay tuned for future videos where we fix up different parts of the yard of different projects we have planned. I hope it inspires you to get out and garden in your own yard and enjoy what nature has to offer. Thanks for watching, and if you like it, give it a thumbs up, please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye! Well, I hope you enjoyed the March tour of my yard. It's starting to wake up from winter. Can't wait for gardening season to really get going when there's a lot more plants at the nurseries to choose from, and more time to get projects done. Ow, cat! That was not cool. Well, I hope you enjoyed the March tour of my garden. Things are starting to wake up. So excited to get going on more projects as I have time and the plants and materials are available in the stores.